Why your logic fails. Why your logic fails is a psychological question, which also touches the philosophical aspects of our life. Our life is intricately woven to see certain patterns. We grow up seeing certain patterns. And when those patterns itself start looking different after a while, we question the authenticity of the patterns and their working. Yet, we never understand the underlying workings of such a magnificent lie that makes us believe in enormity of everything and slowly takes away the touch we once held. Follow me through the end as I make you understand this phenomenon in detail, the one I had discussed earlier once but with lesser details and quite lesser examples. This time I will dwell on to the more interesting topics, ones which always make us question everything we know. Logic is something that we understand and relate to in our mind. It is as simple as stating our opinion. Like in my opinion, it is going to rain today, but seldom has it happened. Like in my opinion, exchange rate will soar through the roof due to recent crisis, but seldom have we seen our predictions coming true. So, why do we believe it with such confidence, enough to put others in their place? Confidence and logic are quite intricately woven to each other. One cannot exist without another. If you have confidence about some prediction, then it has convinced you logically somehow. Now, the logic you hold and the logic someone else holds can be same or can be different, but if you get into subjective details of the logic each holds, you will never be able to hear the end of an argument that will ensue between the two parties. So, how logic changes us, and also it makes us more of an enigma to others and as such a personality in oneself. Well, let's walk this journey through examples. As I went centuries ago into the age where, once upon a time, guarded the door, I wished it well and entered the abode. I saw a group of old men discussing something vehemently. So, I casually went there and sat with them. One among them shouted with extreme confidence, "This realm we stand on is flat, as the water will not be flat if it wasn't." Logically others thought about it and accepted it. Then someone among them shouted, "But when we go up that mountain and see towards the Mediterranean Sea, the place where sky and realm meets, the whole line looks curved." Others again nodded in agreement to the logic. And the whole debate continued. I got up from there and went to another era. There was a huge crowd gathered to see what was happening as a person was being dragged by some elders into a crowded room. There from among the crowd, I witnessed the whole happenings. As the commotions ended, a person in a robe was asked to state his theories and arguments. He told the whole crowd about how that accused person was saying that this realm goes around that ball of fire, and the whole crowd was dumbstruck. The accused person stood up and gave his arguments, but they were mere words for people whose logic was miles away from his own. And unable to witness the rest, I moved to another era. This time, it was more secluded than I thought. A person was quietly working in his room, as the whole world was witnessing Black Plague. This person seemed to have been lost in his own thoughts. He looked very different, as if one who has made solitude his lifelong companion. He was entrenched in symbols that looked foreign to the contemporary eye, but they looked more of equations to the eye, which would witness them in the textbook centuries later. This person was the only one that seemed to be finding these things to be logical. I came back to the present and engulfed myself into present scenarios that looked somewhat like this. So, I came across a game called chess. It was a logical and yet deceiving game. It was grounded in reality, but it was completely a game of logic. Well, it had its origins shrouded in the ancient world, wherein the rules and pieces both were quite different. But let us dwell on to the philosophical part that touches the psychological narrative which I am going to put forward. While playing the game, both the players try to put their perspective onto the table, with timer getting tapped as moves are made. Each player tries to rattle the other, through some tactical move, trying to gain an advantage. And other player tries to break the same through their own strategies while building the momentum for a finale. The time slowly puts both the players in their respective places through pressure build-up. So, at the end of the game, all the onlookers have a winner and the other with reasons. So, now as you go around asking chess enthusiasts present in the room their logic of how the other player lost, or specifically in which move, you will get interesting outcomes. Everyone will think differently. If the person would have played this, then outcome would have been different. But what everyone forgets is, those two moves might have been so obvious that the both players sitting there might have considered it and discarded it. But we will never know, as they didn't choose to explore it. Now, even in a game where outcome is so determined that one will win or lose or draw, Still, why then does our logic fail? Well, in the above case, every move has n number of other possibilities, and as you go on making other moves, the whole equation gets so big that from thousands of possibilities why did they choose exactly those moves can only be answered by them. Their state of mind and presence of mind, while their prediction of other player will play these moves made them choose those exact steps. And even if everything went perfectly, still chess is a game of positional superiority, the one that you cannot gauge at the beginning of game itself. One lone pawn that you left by mistake in a certain box might turn to your advantage at the end of the game, you never know. All you can do there is hope. There was once a chef that was too particular about everything. Logic never failed, and that chef kept all the ingredients in right proportion, and maintained right time. But once, even after following every step to the point, still what came out looked like a burnt piece of cake. Yet, it smelled nice. So, the chef thought of trying it once, and it was delicious. The sugar was caramelized to give a flavor that was truly mesmerizing. The chef had a dish of excellence, which is known to the whole world today. Logically, burning of food should lead to it getting spoilt, still its taste was enhanced, and suddenly logic failed, and something mesmerizing happened. In the world of demand and supply, the prices of products soar and fall. Every product faces this cycle, which also is true for stock market. Their stocks become products. Some people tend to know more about a stock either plummeting or falling based on a few tells. But even their logic fails them sometimes. So what changed? If you ask them, you will get a bunch of reasons that you will hardly understand. Simply, their knowledge deceived them as it was not complete. Knowledge known to the people in this world is incomplete in itself. And they simply became victim to it. Why knowledge is incomplete is the question. This question is the most interesting one, I think. I will try to tell in the most layman terms. The subjects that we read are based on proven results. The subjects themselves keep getting revised and changed. In chemistry, the atom was thought to be the building block of universe, then came the discovery of subatomic particles, and the earlier knowledge was revised and it was thought that this was ultimate. Particle accelerator made that statement obsolete too. Everything we know in this world is debatable. But over the centuries, we have observed a few constant things and wrote them as accurate, and if they also prove us wrong, then that too will happen. The languages, culture, traditions, education, system of this and that, everything gets changed if you look closely through centuries. If everything gets changed at some point in this world, then how knowledge known can be ultimate? The knowledge of this universe is ultimate like the energy equation. But the one known to us is minuscule. We hardly know anything in this world. We still have a lot to travel even before we reach that 10% point of knowledge present in this vast abyss of existence. Our logic simply fails, because there are immense possibilities of happenings, completely unknown to us. We can try to gain as much knowledge as possible, but we will always be less knowledgeable than ever. And the best thing that we can do for ourselves is try to gain more knowledge than coming to conclusions. Conclusions will deceive us, but learning should never stop. Logic will deceive us, until someday the logic you built over the years will make your possibility to be the real one among so many probabilities. And you will get to feel success until it fails you again. And the cycle continues.